this. We can send it out to everybody. We'll edit it down. Hey, welcome Elizabeth and Brett. Really, really glad you made it along, and it's very, very fortunate that it's just the two of you. It's actually quite a, I guess, better to have less, I guess, involvement with other people, because then basically the attention gets focused on solely on you. And as you can see, we've brought in a lot of resources to kind of help use through your career, and starting your career. We have some very, very talented people here in this chat right here at the moment. And but before we introduce ourselves, I just wanted to ask Chip if you could open us up with our mihi, and then we'll get started on our chat.
Kia ora mai tātou. Ko ranganui kei runga, ko papatuanuku kei raro, ko ngā tāngata ki wainganui tihei mauri ora. A te korowai o te kaihanga, o te korowai o te rangimaria, ko haraina mai I rangi a tātou. Ko tai mai nei koutou no ngā hui whānau reira, haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. Tēnā koutou I o koutou tine mate, no reira haere ngā mate, haere ki te wā kāinga, haere ki te kāinga tūturu. O toi tātou mātua I te rangi, haere, haere, haere. Te hunga mate ki te hunga mate, te hunga ora ki te hunga ora. Ka mihi ki te iwi kāinga, ki a Ngāti Whātua, ki tānui hoki me ngā iwi katoa. Ka nui te kua me te hari ki te kiti I a koutou, tēnā koutou ki a koutou kua tai mai nei ki te tautoko e te kaupapa o tēnei pō. E harau hau I te tangata mohio ki te kōrero o tira, e tika ana ki a mihi atu ki a koutou. Nau te raurau, nāku te raurau, ka ki te kete, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, hui e, tāki e.
Tāki e.
Thank you very much, Chip. Brett and Elizabeth, if you have the confidence, we'd love to see your beautiful faces. It's okay if not. Raise your hand if you can hear us all, by the way. Yeah, we're good to go.
I can hear Dave. I'm just got a bad dose at the moment, so I'm just sort of more of a listener really at this point.
All good. That's absolutely fine. Hi. Hey, so like I said, being that that our numbers are low, it's actually quite a great benefit for the both of you, because like I said, we have some amazing resources here, and we'll quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Dave. I am a producer. I'm also a has-been artist, but I am now mentoring through music, helping other aspiring artists with their journey through this ever-changing music industry. I'm going to throw to my left, Reese. You're muted, my friend.
Just testing.
Yeah.
I'm Reese, studio manager at Crescendo, engineer, and do lots of production and songwriting and other little bits and pieces. Yep, that's me.
And then under you is Solomon.
Hi everybody, I'm Solomon. I'm a producer, an artist, songwriter, but I also do music mentoring and work with the rangatahi and sharing with them what I've learned over the years.
Thank you, Sully. And to beside you is Tyson.
Hi, I am Tyson / Induna. I am a producer and artist. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Loms.
Yeah. Talofa, I'm Loms. I'm an artist, recording artist, and also work here at. Recently joined the team at Crescendo as a student support guy.
Awesome. And beside you we have Jazz.
I'm Jazz. My artist name is Lola Corolla, but that project has been on hiatus for about 2 years. But in the meantime, I've studied music management, started working for Crescendo in the operations team, and I've been supporting a few other self-managed artists.
And then besides you, we have the very talented Sapati.
Hi, my name is Sapati, formerly known as Disciple Pati, currently undergoing rebranding to just Pati, because I don't need religion to help me define who I am. Anyways, and so yeah, I'm a singer, songwriter, and performing artist, live performing artist. That's me.
Awesome. And then I realized I got you to do the mihi, Chip, but I didn't give you a chance to introduce yourself.
It's so often the case when you're a bass player, David. Kia ora mai tātou. So my name is Chip Matthews. Up until approximately 51 hours ago, I was the youth and program manager at Crescendo. I no longer work there, and now I work at a company called Melodics. I'm also a session musician and have been a bass player for artists for a considerable amount of time. Kia ora.
Awesome. Elizabeth and Brett, what we were going to do, we were going to open up the chat to everybody. But seeing it as the two of you, feel free at any time during the conversation to unmute your microphones and ask questions, because like I said, it's a real benefit that it's used to here, and we can tailor this conversation towards use, basically. But I just wanted to ask very quickly, with one of the emails that we sent through to you, did you receive a zip file with what we've got called the Music Creators Toolkit? Yeah, you got that? Brett, if you want to put a thumbs up in your... Did you get that?
No, I didn't.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, everybody. I just downloaded the file. I found it in one of the emails that I got from Eventbrite, because I got to find this event on Eventbrite. So that's where. Cool. But I just recently downloaded it just now, basically 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, great. So yeah, if you check your email, Brent, you would have received an email with a zip file that unpacks basically what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've created a resource for artists who are basically beginning in music or wanting to pursue a career in music, and who we have among us are a collection of artists who have been doing music most of their lives, combined maybe, I don't know, 50 years of music, something like that. But we also have artists who are currently pursuing music at the moment. So we thought it would be really valuable for you guys to be a part of a conversation with artists who are currently at, or maybe just slightly above, a level that you're currently at the moment, because that's where the real, I guess, value is going to come from. Which is why we have these very, very talented people here with us now. So can I just double check you guys can see a Google slide in front of you right now that says Music Creators Toolkit? Everybody good? Cool. So basically what that is one thing that I've learned through music is that a wish list is not a to-do list, and a to-do list is going to get you places. And there is a difference between the two of them, which is why we wanted to help you with this kit here, and this ever-changing music industry. So the kit that you've been sent through, we are going to go into it and have a look at some of the documents that we sent through, but I just wanted to kind of have a brief conversation about what's in there. So you'll find a folder in there with an electronic press kit. If you want to bring it up while we're talking about this, feel free to do so. You'll also find another folder in there that is around live gigs. There should be a marketing folder in there as well. There is another folder, music lyrics demos, management and release plan, etc. You can see it up there on the screen. Basically what these are, I guess, some of the tools that we don't really think about or that we don't consider whenever we're beginning our journey through music. I know it's very, very easy for us to get lost in the actual creation of music, and we tend to forget about what here at Crescendo we call the 80%. You know, if you've spent, let's say, 10 hours recording your album, 10 years recording your album, then you still have only done 20% of the work. The other 80% is everything else inside this kit that, by the way, is by no means, gospel or, you have to do this. These are just tools that we want to use to plant seeds inside you guys' brains, just to get you ticking and thinking about these areas of music that are going to help your journey and help you navigate through your journey a little bit more, a little bit better and easier. So just very, very quickly, in terms of what, like our thoughts on an electronic press kit, or you'll see this word EPK. Elizabeth, have you have any idea of an okay? So what it is it's basically a press kit that that you send out to press, or that you send out whenever you're promoting a project, promoting yourself. It's a very, very I guess detailed package, but only with I guess important information that somebody might want, or that you might want to present to somebody. For example, if you wanted to submit a song to a magazine like New Zealand Musician, they would expect that you would have something like an EPK ready for them to sift through, and what you would I guess contain in that kit. You've got your photos, you've got a bio, you've got links to certain songs, etc. But in terms of the thoughts behind that, we would recommend that you start early. So right now, you'll notice that some of these guys have changed their names to their of their socials, etc. like that. Like, this is a little bit more around the marketing, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But in your electronic press kit, my advice would be to start this early. So start documenting everything, capturing photos of everything about the process and the journey, and especially document early on for your project bio. There is a difference between your artist bio and your project bio as well. Your artist bio lets the world know about you as a musician, as a person, but your project bio lets everybody know about, is this an album, is this a single, is this an EP, is it a video, what is it that you're trying to present to them. I did want to quickly throw over to like I said, one of our very talented musicians here. His name's Tyson Induna, because I kind of wanted to show you guys real world application of what, once you've got your electronic press kit sorted, what that might look like for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Tyson, are you ready to share something with us?
Yes, I just need permission to do so.
Oh, okay. Look at that, Dave. You're all over the tech today.
Aren't you the tech guy, Dave?
I know. Give me a second, Tyson. Sorry.
No problem.
There we go. You should be able to do that now.
Sweet.
All right, here you go. Over to you.
So I'll just swing over to basically my thing, and I'll just do a quick rundown. So on my website, if you go to my bio, basically, there's at the bottom here a press kit. So this is basically just for anybody that's kind of like business labels or anything. It's not meant to look very pretty in a way. It's just straight to the details, like what I do, what I can do, and what I've been up to. So it's, again, my bio, songs that I've done. So there's the press kit for the first single that I did, which if you click there, it just basically takes you to a Google Drive, and that will have like, so basically the release thing, about the song and the song itself, and then the gigs, festivals that I've done, which needs to be updated, and then basically a music CV, and the work. So this is like the stuff that I've produced. So that's like one way which I went through Warner Records and found that idea out from. And so this is basically what one would look like on Google Drive. So you can have Dropbox or Google Drive. So we just use Google Drive because it's easier and we can do everything there. So basically you have your press photos, you have this, so press photos. So this is what you send and then they just pick the photos that they'd like to use. You have the song itself and the album cover. And then you have, so we did a one sheet press kit, which is by email. So that's what's sent to everybody. And yeah, a one sheet as well, and basically my biography about the song, and that's pretty much it. So that's everything that's in a press kit. So the song, what about the song, and then photos. That's pretty much it. Sweet, if that works.
Yeah.
If there's any questions, just if you know.
Cheer,
Thank you,
bro.
bro. Appreciate that.
Just want to say that it looks pretty dope.
Um,
Dope.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Is our slide, is my amazing slide back up? Yeah. So yeah, this is something that is kind of like a slow burn. This is something that you build up over your career. But the photos and the documenting. Sorry, let me go back to that. The photos and the documenting. If you're just starting out, it's a great idea to start doing all that stuff now, because your bio is going to constantly change as your music changes, as you progress as an artist, and your kit is going to look a little bit more, a lot more refined and a lot more detailed. But one thing that I want to point out there that that Nduna mentioned is that it's, I guess looks are a part of it, but it's more the details that you put in there and the information that is a bit more important when it comes to an EPK. Yeah, let me jump over to the next one. Marketing. Oh, the fun one. So you'll see a folder in that kit, and it's basically got, ways for you to help you figure out where you actually fit. It talks about socials, it's branding, publicity. Now that following proven methods, I've put that in there just kind of like as there's so many resources online for you to follow, and when you look at other people's, steps that they've taken, sometimes they've just simplified, which hopefully Sapati will be able to help me with a little bit later on. Some methods they just work, but this one here is, this is to kind of help you figure out where do I start with marketing. So I just want to quickly throw over to Jazz, who is a lot more skilled in this area than I am, just to kind of touch on what you'll see inside that folder with the kit that we sent through to you. And we will go through that kit a little bit later in this conversation as well. Yeah, Jazz.
Cool.
Anything? Yeah.
So the biggest part of marketing for me, that I'll stand by till I die, is that it's all about knowing where you fit in, like Dave said. And the first step in doing that is defining your audience. And that might not necessarily be the audience you want, but the audience you actually have. Like, you've got to have a certain point of, being realistic, and you've pretty much got to discern everything about them and kind of, where do they eat, where do they shop, and what are they listening to, because it's there that you'll find where you can meet them in the middle and kind of get them, and particularly with the other musical artists that they're into, it's that's a real crucial one, because it's like, hey, well, what's that musician doing that I'm not, and how can I tap into that? So in that document I've got a worksheet on how to define that and all the kind of points you need to put in. And yeah, from there you kind of look at the wider market and your competition. So those artists that you see yourself similar to, or the artists that your audience are listening to as well, you know, pour through their socials, through their websites, all of their campaigns, look at what they've done, what their messaging is, and how that compares to what you do and how it's different from what you do. And once you have all that knowledge and kind of understanding of where you sit, interact with those people. So Sapati is going to be touching on branding later, but that's another crucial part of marketing, having that consistency, and how you say something can be just as important as what you're saying. You know, it's all about, again, hitting them where you know it's going to get them. And in regards to social media, that's your direct line to your fan base. That's the one way you can contact them, they can contact you, you can have these discussions, you can understand them better. So make sure you're on the right channels for those people. If your target is 15-year-old girls, you're going to want to get a TikTok account. And humans crave human connection and interaction. So don't make it all business and kind of like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm here for, blah, 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 this is what's happening today. You know, show them your life, show them behind the curtain as well. Kind of use your, like the stories feature on Instagram, for example, to show them your life and make them feel like they're a part of that. Especially when you're in the studio, giving them that little like, oh, I'm there. And consistency over quantity. Just keep that steady pace. I'm a terrible example because I haven't posted in 2 years, but you know, yeah, just kind of keeping on the pulse so they don't kind of go, oh, why am I still following this account? And every post, like, reply, comment, and share should serve a purpose. Everything you do should be for a reason, and it should be, you know, carrying you further. And in terms of publicity, so for media, like Dave touched on magazines and radio, it's important to, you know, hit them right and have that beautiful little electronic press kit set up so you can send that to them and they're going to go, oh, this is nice. I can click on a link and just hear the song. I don't have to download anything, because they want it easy. They're busy people. So you just want to hit them with the key hard facts and then give them the option to delve deeper into like, oh, okay, I like this little 10-second snippet. Now I'm going to go here and actually invest and read this press release and look at the photos and then put them on my radio station. It's all about the hook. And a bonus tip is any press you receive, any attention from those outlets, keep a record of that. Like if it's written, you know, save those quotes. If it's radio, you know, like record that snippet and save it in your files, because that's going to really help you later on when you need to, you know, tell someone, oh yeah, you know, like the Rock FM really liked my song, you know. But that's all from me on that, and that's all in the document for you guys to pour over. But my biggest takeaway, understand who you're talking to.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I could not have said it any better than that. Oh, you're going backwards there, Dave. Sorry, I wrote that comment in there. I don't need to write that down. I'll remember that tomorrow. And then the very next day, what was that idea again? And that's pretty much every artist ever. This is where I guess, you know, my skill set comes in when it comes to, I guess, just organizing our music. So I've started a folder for you in that kit. But the way that I've been organizing my music is, you know, it is very, very clean, very, very tidy. You know, so if I need to find a certain file, I can go straight to it. Now, this might seem like, you know, like something very, very simple to follow, but I've noticed with some artists, I've heard horror stories of them accidentally sending through a demo instead of a master of a file. I've heard them sending the wrong master rather than, you know, with the radio edited version. You know, and you know, some people just sent through a file that said demo 1. And so the person on the receiving end, whether that's a radio station or whether that's, you know, the Herald magazine, newspaper, the person on the other end is going, what is this? What am I looking at? Or they're like, all right, here's the song by this person, and then the unmixed, horrible sounding demo gets aired out to the world. So it's very, very important that that we keep our music organized. And what I like to do is I create folders for a song. I'll call it that folder. Let's say the song is called The Most Amazing Song in the World. In there, I might have just documents with lyrics. I might also have extra folders in there saying these are the demos. Another folder in there saying masters, or a third folder saying mixes, because the 3 stages of music is the production stage, or the creative stage. Then it goes through to the mixing stage, and then it goes up to the mastering stage. And you want to be making sure that you're keeping an eye on or keeping some kind of structure to how you're organizing your music. I feel like testing somebody and throwing to them and going, hey, find this file in their drive, just to see what happens, and watching them freak out. But also the other reason why just a new thing that I've been teaching my students is with lyrics. Whatever your process is when it comes to writing music, I don't want to break that pattern. But I do want to, I guess, encourage you to have, I guess, multiple ways of retaining that information. For example, just a basic doc in Google Drive. Once you're done brainstorming your lyrics, put the final copy up in there, because it's quite easy to lose a phone. It's easy to lose a piece of paper with your lyrics on it, but it's very hard to lose the internet. So that that'll be there for whenever you need it, basically. You can always go back to it. Now regarding demos and stuff like that, there is a way that you can capitalize on your demos, and my good friend Solomon is going to help me with this part. Sully, do you want me to? I'm just going to throw over to you, please.
Sure. Yeah. So SoundCloud is actually a great place to upload your demos to, because it gives not only a place where you can store them and have them all in one place, and which is online, which means you don't have to have your hard drive or your laptop. You can just have your phone to access them, but it also allows you to share them with people. And especially if you're building a project, an EP or an album, it allows you to have them all in one place where you can share them with like a manager, other producers who you want to work with, or anyone who's really invested in your music. It's a great way of sharing like a private link with them. So uploading it all as a private link as well, that allows you to keep it out of the public eye, but still have it online, and it's really accessible. It's also a lot easier than having them on somewhere like Google Drive, because the way it's made for playing music is so easy. And it's a great platform for that.
Yeah,
something to consider.
And to give you an example of what you might use that for, I've been giving a second ear to some of the mixes that Tyson or Nduna has been working on. So whenever he he wants a second opinion on a song, he can just send me a link, and then I can just click on that link, and it sends me right to where that song is, and I can hit play. Sometimes with Google Drive, that person might need to click on that, and then you'll need to wait for an email to go through, because you'll need to request permission. But then there's no privacy of who has access to those files, etc. So SoundCloud is a great place to be able to do that, with sharing music with other musicians for second opinions and things like that. Another thing that we, I guess, be interesting, financial management is something that I guess we don't really think about. We've gone along and created a spreadsheet for you that talks about that just kind of shows, I guess, how we manage ourselves before we have, we're able to just pass on the baton to somebody else and go, hey, look after my money. In the beginning, something that we don't really think about is tax. Until, for example, last year I got hit with a massive bill that I had no idea existed. And it was because I was just, I wasn't as diligent as I should have been, just regarding royalties that come in, and just, do I need to pay tax on that? Do I need to? If you have to ask, do it. Because you can always claim back on it. A couple resources just to help you manage, I guess, your money. One of the ones that I can talk on that you can see there on the right is called Henry. Just HNRY. It's a Kiwi company down in Wellington. They have a free app. All the resources that they have, you have access to for free. They also create an account for you, so you can use that account for when you're invoicing. All that money goes into that account. They sort all the tax out for you, and then they just wire the money back to you. And they take a 1%. But I'm no way getting paid to tell you this, by the way. This is just me as an artist, letting you guys know that there's this resource out there that can help you. But they just take a 1% cut. So the one thing I love about that is that there's no monthly overhead. If you don't get paid for a year, they don't get paid for a year. But you can still upload, expenses and things like that, and they still review them, etc. And you still have those resources. Zero is another one. I might throw over to Reese to help me with that one. But another thing, when you have, I guess, the opportunity to, the type of accountants that we're looking for are entertainment accountants. If you have the choice, it is an entertainment accountant that you'll need, because their specialty is the entertainment industry. If you get yourself a real estate accountant, I would imagine that they would struggle when you sent them through a royalty check and said, "Hey, what is this?" And you want to make sure that you're being looked after, especially your money is being looked after by somebody who understands how that money works. Did you want to add anything to that, Reese, very quickly?
Yeah, well, so I think taking it back a step as well is in the financial side of it is combined with starting a business. That's really the core of what you're about to do as a musician. You're about to start a business, whether you call it a business or not. When it starts getting bigger, as you should be hoping to do, because that's exactly what all this planning is about, you are a business and you need to have this stuff in line. And the best thing about this is that if you start it when you're small, when you're just starting out, it will grow with you. So whatever you're thinking is things that are too overwhelming that you're going to do later, it's okay to do now because it's going to be in its most simple form, where there's going to be no cash transactions going through. Everything's going to sit there. So it seems overwhelming, but starting a company is just like registering any other form. So if you've applied to go to university, if you've opened a bank account, if you've applied for a new passport, if you've done any of these forms that you're filling out, it's just as simple to start a company. And it's like, why do you need a company? Well, eventually you're going to need a company, right? You're going to be an artist, you're going to be making money, you're going to be out there, you're going to be a brand, so you'll need a company. And a company is really just that. You're paying $130 to register for a name that you now own. So the only way you're going to own the name of your company is to spend $130, and now you own whatever you call that. You now own a company. A company doesn't have to do anything. It could just sit there. It could sit there inactive, and all you pay is a $60 fee per year to uphold that company. So you could go online in about 2 hours, you could own your own company. Is your company doing anything? No, it's just sitting there ready to go. So thing is the complexity of the company will grow as you do. And one of the first things, the reason why you would need a company is you're going to start doing gigs, or money's going to start coming at you if you're doing well. And cash all of a sudden is not an option. If you start becoming a successful artist and cash keeps coming into your pockets, you are going to get pinged. Okay? This is widely known in the music industry. Money starts coming into your accountant, into your accounts, and they start looking at you and go, what do you do for a job? Oh, you're the musician earning cash. That game has been around for years. They know exactly what to look like. You know, they'll just look at your records. Oh, what? You're all on the internet, on social media, doing gigs. You're making money and you're not clearing any of it. It's a bad route to go down. The other thing is, if people want to pay you for your gigs, they're not going to pay you in cash. They want to pay it into an account, right? They need to clear it. They don't have petty cash on account to be given it to you. They need somewhere for that to go. So there's other benefits as well. You can start to use your lifestyle as a musician to pay less tax. So everything you do in your company, and musicians actually have the most flexible and most ways that you can write off tax. All the equipment you buy, clothing that you buy, travel you do, food you buy for gigs, going to gigs, buying concert tickets, Netflix account comes under research, right, for your career. So these things start to get a little bit interesting, because it's, do you do your own accounts? Yes, you could do your own accounts. You could learn that stuff yourself. If your career is about to get bigger, you're going to get to a point where you're not going to do your own accounts, right? You're going to pay someone to do that for you. It's going to get complex with royalties and all the other little bits and pieces that are coming through to you. So for the amount that an entertainment accountant costs, maybe $800 a year, they're going to save you that money and potentially the mistakes that you're going to make down the line. And it is well worth having someone that you can just ask a whole bunch of questions to. They're there to answer your questions and to look at your accounts and make sure that you don't make any mistakes. The other part to that is a track record. So just like having a credit record for, so like paying your phone bill on time gives you a good credit record. Having a company slowly burning away in the background, if over time it adds up and, oh yes, you've successfully owned your company, no matter how active it is, for say 5 years, people start to look at that like you've got a successful company that hasn't folded. And then you start to get leverage on maybe like getting loans and using it. So the longer you've got an established company, the better it is. And the best thing, start small. Even if you just get $100 going to your company for the first time, and that's all you make in the year, but you do your tax on that $100, you see how the process works, then basically you'll realize that it's not actually that hard. So start early and start simple. That's the rundown on that.
Awesome. Thank you, Reese.
Yeah. Feel free to ask me any other questions, but I just jammed it all in there.
Yeah. And yeah, that's why I guess, yeah, we want to plant these seeds with you guys and get you guys thinking about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was, I guess one of the questions that come up with some of the aspiring artists that I've worked with in the past is, hey, who's a good manager? Or they'll go, do you guys do management? Or, there's questions around management. the one of the first questions, well, I respond with the question, well, why do you need a manager? And this is something that I'm going to get Tyson to help me out with as well. But the first thing that I wanted to, I guess, just kind of talk about with when I'm building a relationship with managers, or if I'm looking for a manager, the kind of attributes that I want to, that I want from one of them is, nice to have, for me, believe it or not, is experience. Yes, it's nice to have a manager with experience. You would assume that, like you want a manager with experience. Well, actually, sometimes it's better to grow with your manager, to build your career with your manager, so that way you both learn that process together. Knowledge of the current industry is a nice to have. Relationships with other industry personnel, once again, nice to have. But for me, if I'm going to look for a manager, I must have is that my manager has to be passionate about my music, as passionate, if not, as passionate about my music as I am. Because I know that, when we put passion into the picture, basically, passion is what gets us out of bed at night. Passion is what we're willing to work extra hours for, or passion is something we're willing to pursue without getting paid for. Once again, they're willing to learn and to grow with me. You also want them to be, I want my manager, they have to be open and transparent with what's going on if I'm getting them to manage my money. They need to be transparent about conversations that they're having, inquiries that have come through. I've had experience in the past where I guess certain things have come through but didn't make it to me, and I've said, hey, hang on a minute, why didn't that get to me? Why wasn't I consulted? So I really want them to be transparent and trustworthy is the biggest one. But that trust goes both ways. You want to know that that your manager is not going to just milk whatever they can out of you and then run away. But you also want to reassure them that, hey, this is a journey that we're going to pursue together. I don't want you to get me to a space to where everybody wants me and then I'm going to leave you. So maintaining those relationships is really, really important for us. I mean, for me. I guess when it comes to that side and, the knowing when you need a manager, Tyson, I'd love for you to touch on that a little bit more for me. Unless
Yes.
I've said it all.
Yeah, you've kind of like run down through the important bits. But I just want to say a key thing for me is it took me 8 years for me basically to be like, oh, okay, I need a manager. And I've said this a couple of times to people, I need a manager, and I definitely get asked, why do you need one? And then basically I found out that I can do those stuff by myself without one. So it's understanding when, and that the part where you kind of figure that out is when things start getting a bit too big and your weaknesses are far greater than your strengths. So meaning, for example, the press kits and the writing and the radio, like I can talk the hell out of you and make you go, oh my god, this guy's amazing. The moment you say write to me, write what you say to me, I'm crap. So the music matched, but the other side didn't. So basically that's when, I went to somebody and I was like, hey, this is currently my issue. And they were like, oh, now you need a manager. Now you need somebody that's basically strengthening, like, lifting your weaknesses, because that's not your strengths. That's not your thing. So then, for experience, my part was I didn't want someone that was experienced. I had a conversation with one manager and basically they just chucked in a lot of artists that they've managed, and as like a flex, instead of this is what I can do for you, it was this is what I've done in the past, which was quite important for me. Was do they have a passion for me, and do they like what I do? So if you're sitting at a table and basically they're going, oh yeah, I managed I'm gonna throw Drake, and I've got him here and here and here. that's great, but it might not be the same goals for you. So it's understanding that they have the best interest for your side. So those key things are very, key. But I just wanted to basically just say that when you realize that you need a manager is when things are a bit way more out of your depth in a way. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm like covering that really well.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Moving on. A release plan. Now we did have some questions about this, and we sent out a pre kind of questionnaire before this chat, and one of them was kind of like, like how do I release, etc., like that. It's kind of a process, there's no one way to do it, but there is, in my opinion, a right way to do it. This is where the very talented Pati comes into play. But a social media calendar, etc. These bullet points right here are okay, I guess kind of basic things that kind of incorporate everything that we've spoken about. Once you've got all of that stuff kind of sorted, this is where your release plan starts to come in. Just one thing that I want to, I guess, kind of mention is that you should start thinking about your release plan after you've got, I guess, at least 90% of your project ready to go. It's one thing that I've noticed. Some artists, you'll hear a song from them, and then there's a very, very huge gap between the next song that comes out. In some cases, that's okay, but in most cases that I've seen and that I've had experience with, it has kind of damaged their build. You want your career to be on a consistent climb. So, like if you've only written one song and you want to put that out, absolutely fine. But if you plan on releasing an album and you've only finished one song and then you want to put that out, I would say maybe take a step back, write some more music, get more of that project finished, and then start thinking about a release plan. And regarding a release plan, Pati is going to, I guess, share some thoughts on that. I'm going to throw over to you right now.
Cool. Thanks, Dave. So the thing about release plans, social media, content creating, content marketing is, like Dave said, a big part of it is the music. So when you create a song or when you create a body of work, you're essentially telling a story. And there's an essence of what the story is, which is your music. And so an important part before even attacking a social media calendar and, thinking about gig dates and what you're going to do for your gig is thinking about what is the story that I want to tell. Branding, essentially, for me, from my perspective and from my experience, just to build on what Jazz said before as well, branding is essentially telling a story about yourself, which may or may not be true, telling a story about yourself to a group of people who either align with the story or don't align with the story. And so either way, either of those behaviors, aligning with the story or not aligning with the story, are something which can put your music and what you want to say through your music out into the world. So once you've determined what the story is, then you can think about putting together a social media calendar. And the reason why I say the story is really important is because it actually dictates the type of content that you're going to put together before you set up your calendar. So what a lot of people tend to prefer to do is they'll have their music ready and then they'll create like a 20-day plan, for example, leading up to the drop of the first single, and then another 20-day plan leading up to the drop of the second single, and so on and so forth until the full body of work is finally released. The thing about that 20-day plan is within those 20 days or so, you've essentially got 20 days worth of content that you are dropping every single day, or that you're dropping on a regular basis, which a lot of those things, like, for example, music videos, lyric videos, photos, behind the scenes edited videos, all those things are things that should be ready on day 1 of that day 20 plan, or however many days Dave's put in the release plan in the press kit and the kit. And so when you have your story, so for example, I had a single last year which was called Serious, and the song was about not being taken seriously as an artist, as a woman, as a female artist. And so part of the song was quite poppy, and the story that I wanted to tell was that you're going to take me seriously from this point forward, right? So I'm not then going to do something that contradicts that story and the content that I'm trying to put out into the world, if that makes sense. And also doing things like, when you have a gig coming up, people think that you can post one post about your gig and that will direct enough traffic to your gig. That's not enough, personally, for me. I'm sure a lot of other people can attest to this, but a lot of artists, what they do is they drop the release date, it's in their bio, they post a story every single day, they're at radio interviews, and then they're cross-posting with other platforms to boost the link and all that kind of stuff. So a release plan is really important, and it's dictated by the story that you want to tell, which is what the content's also dictated by. And it's basically just about overexposing yourself to as many eyes as possible. And the way that you tell your story and what the story is will ensure that it's the right eyes that pay attention. Does that make any sense?
Of course. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, were you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay,
I just
cool.
make sure that made sense, you know?
No, that was great.
I just be talking smack.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But that's basically, I guess, the end of the list of things that we've put into that kit for you. I'm just going to go right to the top of this one more time. Come on. Next one. Nearly there. This is so professional. I know. This is literally a Google slide. But yeah, just, once again, the overview of kind of this kit that we've created, which it is going to get very, very informal in about 10 seconds, in a minute, where I'm going to actually show you the kit itself, just to make sure that you receive the right things. I just want to also welcome Faye, Ian, and Paki to the conversation, and just mention what I mentioned to everybody else was that we sent out an email before this chat with a zip file, and in the zip file you'll find a folder that contains, I guess, a very documented guide for you to follow along with the elements that you can see there up on the screen. You guys can still see that, right? Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, so here's what I want to do. I just want to very quickly go like this, very, very informal. And here's kind of what we came up with. So if you open it up, if you're opening it in Google Drive. Oh, can you guys still see that, by the way? Yep. We have our electronic press kit folder, with a kind of a how-to doc, a bio doc. I've just put that there because, as you would have seen inside Tyson's kit, he had everything kind of neatly organized into certain areas, because the thing with the images is that, you can have your press photos, then you might have your album artwork. So, we've already, started creating some of that stuff. I didn't put the document in there with, like how to populate an EPK in terms of, a blank doc, because that's something that you might not be using Google Drive. But here is one thing that I wanted to talk about, which was live gigs. Part of what we've done here is not only a document on how to live. We didn't know what else to call it. It was like, if you've never done a live gig before, it can be quite an intimidating, I guess, experience if you're getting up there for the first time. Part of what we've done in this document here for you guys is just to kind of run down, how to capitalize on live gigs, but also just like how to prep for a live performance. One thing I wanted to I guess kind of the reason why I created something like this was because in my my experience with working with aspiring artists, once again some horror stories where an artist would show up to a gig and they're there for a performance, and then they're about to come on stage and I'm stage managing at the time and I'm saying, okay, what's your artist name? And they would say, oh, I didn't know, I'm just, for example, I'm Dave. And it's like, okay, cool, what are you going to be performing? I'm going to be doing 3 songs. All right, cool. What do you need? A microphone and my backing tracks. Okay, where's your backing tracks? Oh, I don't know. Did anybody send them to you? Oh dear, really? Ah, okay. Well, no. So, what can you do instead of? I can just do an a cappella. I can rap. No, you're not ready for the stage yet. So, what I want to do is we've created these documents, especially just a simple tech writer. If you're unfamiliar with what a tech writer is or what it's used for, honestly, this is literally the tech writer from my band, minus a couple, I guess, finer details that are really specific to who we are as artists. But this is the basic structure of what we send to a gig, just to make sure, because one thing we don't think about is, does the gig that I'm going to play at, can it accommodate my performance? If you're a 9-piece jazz band and you're going to a corner bar with only 2 microphones on hand, obviously it's going to be hard for you to showcase your performance. So this is to help you pick the right settings as well, and to make sure that, when somebody goes to ask you and says, hey, I love your music, can you come and play at my bar or something like that? You might, you could send them through a tech sheet with a writer request, etc., just to make sure that they have the right gear, because the last thing you want to do is, I guess, devalue your craft or your product, simply because there was a miscommunication between you and the venue. The other thing, so like I said, this marketing folder here, as we mentioned earlier, Jazz, do you have it up on your side?
I do not.
You do not. That's okay. I'll tell you what. You tell me what to do. I'm going to go like this. And then, first, let's have a look through this. Do you want to talk us through?
That's the audience table.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where you kind of decipher who your people are, like I kind of described. And I've just put some pointers in there, like where they live, how old they are, what they do, da-da-da-da-da. You just got to pretty much write a whole biography about this person, stereotype, generalize, put it all there. And then you scroll down to the market analysis and you kind of investigate yourself and answer some of those big burning questions and, figuring out what sets you apart. And then you're going to put yourself up against some other musicians kind of in your peripheral, like, for example, when I did it, I kind of had 2 international artists in the same genre and then 2 very local, same level kind of starting out musicians, and kind of cross-referenced all of that and kind of found the differences and the commonalities, and then cultivated my own brand further out of that. And then, now that you know who your people are, interact. So these are all the points I kind of went over in regards to branding, social media, and publicity. And yeah, they're all just kind of good to know little nuggets.
You'll have plenty of time in your own time to go through this, by
Yeah.
the way, in detail. We
I
just
hope
kind
it
of
all
want
makes
to,
sense.
we just want to help you make sense of what you're about to be bombarded with when you open up that folder. And to help you with this stuff here, Jazz was very kind enough to actually share the example of her one and what that might look like. You know, so this is very, very straightforward. There's a PDF inside the kit that we've shared with you. And these are the artists that she was talking about and the you know, the analysis that she discovered when she was doing her research. But that's what it might look like. Forgive me, I'm pointing at my other screen that's up here. But that's what that might look like once you've completed your one. Like, yeah, in your own time, take the time to have a look at this.
Important to note that that was in 2020, so a lot of that information has changed. So don't because King Princess did a whole rebrand, so all of my information about her is wrong now. So yeah.
And one point that I want to kind of put across is that a lot of this, remember, is not like we said, it's not you know, like you have to do this. It's not gospel. It's more about making the thought process a little bit easier for you guys, and planting those new seeds, and hoping that you can grow in those areas. The music folder is straightforward, like I've just explained. You know, how to organize your music, etc. A detailed walkthrough that Solomon was kind enough to write up, just talking about the you know, the demoing and using SoundCloud to your advantage. But also here we have, you know, the financial management side. It's a very basic spreadsheet. Honestly, like Sally, I might get you to jump in on this one here to help me. Just kind of documenting. This is one way, by the way, that we kind of use, or you know, like Sully uses in his workflow. But yeah, do you want to throw in a couple words there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a good way to track all the income coming in and out of your music, so that you are aware of what you're spending and what you're making, so that when you get to the end of the year, if you didn't have an accountant yet, or you could still kind of get a gauge of the financials around your music. It gives you just a bit more of an understanding of that side of things. Yeah, but it's a good way also to break it up into different sections of your music. If you're a producer and an artist, you can break those two up, and you could also break up the live segment just to keep everything separate, and using different accounts for different things, so that you can see, if you're a producer, you can see if your production work is actually viable, or whether you're spending too much money on gear and you're not actually making any money. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you, brother. And then lastly, just the normal management that you know, that you might want to pass over to you know, when you do actually finally get a manager. But this is something that I've started doing, that, you know, I wish I had started when I first started in music, which is why we kind of incorporated this stuff in here. Just very, very simple processes that we, you know, it might seem like child's play, and it is. It's very, very basic, but it's something that we don't think about when we're thinking about pursuing music as a career. But it's very, very basic way of, you know, like mapping out my I can't see the bottom because one screen's in the way. Just, another thing is industry contacts. You know, like you know, putting down the names of producers and their site or their phone number, which organization, their role in that organization, any notes about that role that you've learned. This is what you'll start to populate as you begin to network and grow. But also on the side, one thing that I guess that is really, really important when it comes to building relationships is, what value can I offer them? In the beginning, you know, we're always take. It's you know, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? When it's, you know, sometimes we need to take a step back and go, these people are offering certain things, so hey, what can I help you with? I've learned this, let me share this idea with you. Or you know, some people might offer their skill sets so that they can you know, in exchange for maybe an hour of studio time, etc. But once again, very, very basic basic stuff. Hopefully this helps you guys out. And then I have to slide over one more. One tab that we thought might be handy is just funding. So keeping track of I guess funding dates. We've started this off for you. So for example, New Zealand On Air, what would you use that for? If you want to release a single, create an album. APRA or AMCOS funding, this is they've got a funding there for what did you call it? Hey, how about this? We just click on it because we hyperlinked it. New music, yeah, art music funding. And as you can see there, sound design for all. For example, if you've got some traditional instruments and you're like, hey, I want to record that, and you want to create something that all musicians can use, you can apply for funding for that kind of stuff. But this is just to give you an idea of what what we've been kind of using these funding bodies for as musicians and as artists. Other than that,
sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
A good thing to look at in that tab is like the NZ On Air funding criteria, because those are really important milestones for a musician that's starting out, and to kind of tick off those boxes, those should be the kind of goals you're working towards in the long run.
That's one thing that when we look at when we look for funding, we look for money. But these can be very handy to look for, like, if you're starting out in the music industry and you look at the criteria, it's like, it's very handy to know that, okay, once you qualify for any of these here, you need to achieve quite a lot. So it's a great way for you to start a checklist of, okay, what do I need to do with the music, and then go, cool, let me start checking some of this off, regardless of whether you're applying for the funding or not, or whether you get it or not. It's just great to have a list of things that I need to build up. So just a different perspective on how you might view funding.
Also, because just because she said that just reminded me.
Yeah.
So we've actually started using that as our journey goal. So basically, we took pretty much a screenshot of it and have a tick box, and it might be like, get 2,500 plays on Spotify or any other thing. So basically, you're just making that as a goal, because in music sometimes you don't know if you're moving forward or going backwards. So it's just like, if you're like, this is just our, like, basically we might release something and be like, we just want to have a premiere. That's basically it. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. It's just figure out how to work out a premiere. So you don't need to go really big and try fit all the criteria. It's just pick one thing, go from there, and before you know it, you'll be all over the internet.
In the eyes of the funding bodies, well fucking said. Oh, pardon. In the eyes of the funding bodies, these are the criteria that make you commercially viable, and that's not just something you want for the funding, it's something you want for your career. So make that tick box like Tyson's done.
And then the last thing here was just an example of what a release plan could potentially look like. I put Gantt chart down here because I know that some people actually, I think it was you, Chip, that mentioned Gantt chart, or Reese. Sure, why not? But just something to make you guys aware of. But now this once again is just an example of, like, you would put a date once you've got a big, I guess, the majority of your project is nearing its completion, and you've ticked all the boxes that that Sapati was talking about earlier. And then you start planning those dates, so it might be tomorrow the marketing campaign begins, and what kind of activity, short content pieces, mood shots, all of that comes out tomorrow.
And just to think, like I said earlier, the release plan is easier when you've finished the creating of the content. Like it's a lot easier to make impromptu story posts when you've got other things scheduled, like you've already made it before you start scheduling things. Don't wait till the day it says you're scheduled to post a photo to then take a photo.
Have all that content ready to go. That's right. But this is kind of like, dream scenario. You're single and your video goes out, maybe a week after those posts. And then maybe a week later, you're starting your support tour, which, by the way, one thing we put in that live document, if ever you're doing a live performance, your audience is right there in front of you. Do not feel ashamed to start plugging yourself. You plug your socials, you plug your music, you plug everything about you. If you're an opening act for somebody else, you go hard. They've done all the hard work of getting the audience in for you. And now you go out and you go, okay, I'm going to go and promote myself. Thank you. Thank you for your audience. I'm going to go and, plug myself. Shameless plugs. But this is just an example of what something might look like when you go to release something. It doesn't need to look that way. It's definitely going to look different for you in terms of the content or the activity. Other than that, I really, really hope that this helps you guys on your journey through this very, very complicated industry. Now, I kind of want to open it up to you guys. Yeah. Thank you for listening to us blabber. Yeah. Any questions? Elizabeth, I see you. Your mic is, yep.
Yes. Hello. Thank you so much for the presentations. It has been amazing, actually, for me. I've learned a lot. I have to say a huge thank you to all of you. I have a question, and I've been having it in my head since, I don't know, maybe the past 30 minutes. I just don't know how to round it up.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm sorry. I think this is more something for jazz and zapatis, maybe. Yep. But I was thinking, like, in terms of promoting yourself, and also maybe, I mean, I just don't know how to phrase it, but it's more like, to me as a person, I like when things are very much simple, and when I find everything very neat in just one place. So, for example, I recently have been realizing that most of the people I follow on Instagram, be it music artists or craft artisans or whatever, most of them currently have this called Linktree.
Yep.
Where you can find, or you can find everything. Like,
yeah.
I think that on the top you'll find the most recent activities they have linked to some other link.
Yeah.
And then they have like below, I think they have kind of the always go to kind of information.
Yeah.
So, like, just as a little of reference on myself, I am not a musician yet. I am just starting, just little by little. I am currently taking classes, taking courses on music production too, and blah, 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 blah. And I still don't have any kind of media, so social media as me as an artist, not yet. But I was just thinking, like, how can I make, I mean, it's just that there are many thoughts in my head right now, but I was just thinking, like, how has it been, like, the experience maybe for you, or what do you think, or on the idea on just having one platform, just the Linktree, I mean, through the Instagram or YouTube, that can direct you to just one sole place and have everything there, as opposed as to have, for example, a link on your SoundCloud or a link on your Google Drive, or a link onto your website. Like, what is the difference on the impact that have in your audience?
People love easy.
Like,
that's why Linktree is so powerful, because you can just click that and then there's a play button. So I think it's good to have all the platforms, but having them all laid out that way so people can choose where they go, that's awesome. Because, if you were like, I'm not going to have Instagram, that's a whole section of your audience that might not be able to reach you.
Yeah, I think it's also, but I do think that, like, it is, when you're just starting out as well, you don't really want to be spending a lot of time. Like at the end of the day, the music still has to be good, you know, and you still want to be dedicating a lot of time and effort into making sure that your musicianship is up to par, right? And so when you're doing a lot of this marketing stuff, it can feel quite frustrating because you're taking time away from the actual thing that you're meant to be marketing. So I think for me, what I first started doing was I looked at platforms when I was first beginning that had the easiest analytics tools and the easiest ways to get engagement. So TikTok, for example, it's so easy. Well, it's easy for certain personalities to get engagement and to get followers and to get views. And it's also easy for you to like find the right group of people. So if, you know, if that's one place where you just start with just TikTok, so like you do TikTok consistently or you do Instagram consistently with the link tree, that's a good place to start. Like it can feel overwhelming to have to do all of these different platforms at one given time and point in time. But I think the best way is, like you said, is to focus on one platform first. And then once you realize you've got the hang of it, or once you've got a handle on your own music, then it's a good idea to start expanding. But it's like Reese said, you know, you want to have a hold on all of these things early so that they grow with. That's a way for it to grow with you, I guess, is to start small with one, and then, but yeah. And then the other side of Linktree, because I mean, it is one thing to consider with Linktree as well, is that people after one or two clicks, their engagement and their attention span starts to lower. So it is maybe a good idea to think about prioritizing clicks and like prioritizing I want maybe one link to exactly where all the music is. So yeah, that's my
I'll just, because on my part, so which is it's funny that everybody's got such interesting things, but so I've basically started off with Facebook was my first thing, so I was very active on there, and basically my link just led straight to SoundCloud, and this is when I was crap, and then Instagram came about, and I basically put my name on it, was never active for it for probably like 2 years, did that on YouTube, had my name never active on it, and Twitter. So now I've started to go more active on Twitter and YouTube. So it's okay to, because like, for example, what she said is like, not everybody's going to go, oh my God, I'm going to click on all your links, and you don't need to have all your links on there. It's the fact, one of the things that I've noticed is if you're not there, somebody can take your name. So if you say this is something I want to keep, then just having that there pretty much on reserve, that's what I call it, reserve. And then basically if somebody comes in and types it in, that username's already taken, so they can't go about and use it. So it's okay to just have one link. Literally, like, you literally control the narrative, you control what you want out of it. So if you just want people to go to Spotify and just listen to your music on Spotify, just put it on Spotify. And if somebody's like, hey, I'm actually interested in going on iTunes, or I have iTunes. Funny enough, it happens to me. I can't like speak for everybody else. People will come and private message me. And I'm like, hey, I only have iTunes. Can I actually find you there? And those are the people that probably will follow you and actually are the ones that are interested. As you know, if you're marketing, you're mostly looking for new people and existing. So yeah. But that's my thing from my understanding of the question. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
again,
much.
it all comes down to what your music sounds like, who you are as a person, and who your audience is. Like that's, you know, it's important to know where you are and where your people are.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I might just add something quickly to that. Because there's so many options, and like Jazz just saying, there's so many different genres and different ways of doing it. I think just it's a good idea to find like a role model example for each one of these scenarios, and literally just just copy it's already been done, right? It's already been done 10 million different ways. You just need to pick which one. So find an artist that is in the same field or is like an image that you like, and be like, what links do they have? And just basically copy it. The blueprint's already there. And of course, yeah, saying again, the research is the fun part of it, because you just go, okay, I'm just going to put time aside to have a little investigation into the pros and cons of each of these platforms. Do I have to pay for anything? Do I have to like subscribe to like Linktree and, you know, and just look at those different pros and cons, and then all of a sudden you'll have a starting point.
Is it okay if I add something, bro?
Go for it, bro.
Also, like, I think something that hasn't really been discussed around this is demographic. You have to know what demographic you're going for on each platform. Like, there's certain demographics on each platform. So TikTok is more for younger users. Facebook is like kind of like middle-aged kind of people, and Instagram is more like TikTok people and kind of older. So like, yeah, like the bro said, choose a certain demographic and just cater towards those. And like Tyson was saying, just like look for the kind of audience that you're going for, and yeah, run those lanes until you feel the need to graduate.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, anybody else got any other questions? Ian, or yeah, Ian, go for it.
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks for the very interesting talk. I joined late, so I'm very sorry if I missed the question, but are there kind of, let me rephrase. I think with streaming on Spotify, you don't really get very much back from that. And a lot of people say that other platforms such as Bandcamp is a way to go. Obviously, they've been bought now. But would you ever say you just exclusively release on one particular platform at all, or just go the whole gamut with Linktree and everything and hope that you pick up bits from everyone because you're trying to expand an audience? Just asking. I'm a cellist, but I'm switching over to doing a bit more composition. So I thought I'd join and ask. So thank you for your help.
You know, everybody here is going to have an opinion about that. But in my opinion, or what I've learned from other artists and what has been effective with them is, sometimes it's good to be where your audience is. So when you think about your market and you've been doing your market research, you know, if your audience is on Spotify, then you know, why are you putting your music on let's say iTunes? You know, versus Bandcamp or you know, whatever is out there. You know, so I think, but one thing that I notice is that they're using the platforms in a way to where hey Sapati, I just noticed that you need to go. Thank you so much for your time and
No
your
worries,
input.
no
We really
worries.
appreciate
So I
you.
don't want to interrupt, but yeah, thank you so much for having me, everyone.
Yeah.
And I'll message you later, Dave.
All
right.
good.
Good to
See you later.
See you.
But yeah, so you know, some people might use Spotify just so that, you know, their music is easily accessible to their fans, because, you know, or Spotify or some kind of streaming giant. And then they'll have a separate package that, you know, like their dedicated fans might want to, you know, go that extra mile. Like, hey, you know, I've got a, you know, I've printed a disc, or, you know, if you really want to support me, you can come and, you know, maybe donate on Bandcamp or something like that. But it's kind of like whatever works. What I've noticed with some artists is that they're using it for whatever works for their, I guess, for their process, or their you know, they're following kind of like whatever their music is doing for them. I know they definitely Sully, you might want to jump in on that as well. I think you just cracked 1 million streams, or it's been a while since you cracked 1 million streams, is it?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, sometimes you don't really have a choice when you're distributing as well. You just kind of, you go with your distributor and then they send it out to all the platforms.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can necessarily go through and individually pick which ones you want, but I think there's value in just like putting it out to. If you're putting it on Spotify, you may as well go with the other digital aggregators as well, because it's like the further your music can reach, the better, really. And unless you've got some beef with
Yeah, it's like, you know, Tyson said before, people reached out to him and said, hey, like, can I find you on iTunes? Like, you don't want to close off to that whole potential demographic of yours, you know, because, you know, old people prefer Facebook, young people prefer TikTok. It's the same with the music distribution services.
Loms or Tyson, do you want to add anything to that, or?
So my thing is, if you're, I know, like, because you mentioned the word money, and I have a funny look on that with like streaming and stuff. The truth is, at this moment, artists, we make more money out of gigs and merch and stuff. So you never want to basically limit yourself to streams as your main income, or source of only income. So that's like my thing. But on the fact that you want to look at it as like just finding audience is, so that's where people can go to listen to your music and basically be like, I actually like this person. So you're basically, it's another form of marketing, because, you know, they can't see you live in a way. So yeah.
Awesome. Hopefully that's helped, Ian.
Yeah, it has. Thank you very much.
Or you can ask more. Okay. What about Jess or Brett? Anything from you guys, or any other additional questions? Before you ask that, Chip, thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate you. If you need to head off, Chip Matthews, you go for it, my man.
And he's gone.
Yeah, but if he's any other questions from
Bye, Ian.
the others, yeah. Yeah, thank you for being a part of this, Ian. Yeah, enjoy your weekend. Yeah. If there's nothing else from Brett, I noticed that I remember you had fired through an email regarding your release. Is there anything that we kind of haven't covered that you want to ask questions about?
No, not really. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit under the weather at the moment with the reality.
Yeah.
But I've sure got a lot from listening to you guys. I've been writing notes. I've sort of missed the zip file link somewhere, and I've been trying to find it, but maybe it's there somewhere.
Yeah, we can resend it out.
Actually, Brett, I sent you the link where I got the file through a private message. I just sent it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see it.
Oh, many thanks. And I want to thank everybody here for their thoughts and contributions and ideas and help. It's been very valuable. I've been writing a lot of notes here.
Awesome.
I'm just sitting in the background because I'm not really at my best at the moment.
Good.
We hope you're at your best soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here.
Well,
So
I'm glad you found.
Yeah,
glad you found value in that, Brett. And if we will resend that link out to everybody, just in case. Jess, if you do need to go, Jess, that's absolutely fine. Hopefully you found value in that too. Yeah, and if Elizabeth, Jess, and if you guys don't have any other further questions, then hey, look at us, we're ahead of time. We can all go back home to our turn around to our families. Yeah.
Having
I
great.
really appreciate everybody's time. I just also want to say to our panel talkers, it's been amazing having you on board. And Godspeed to Brett and Elizabeth. Like, I genuinely wish you the best with your careers.
Can't wait to hear the stuff you put out.
Yeah.
I will try to let you know.
Yeah. And just to let you know, we have a studio. There's a sign right behind Jazz's head there called Crescendo, which is if you're ever in Auckland and you're in Avondale, come and say hi to us.
I would like to go someday to New Zealand. Currently, I am in Madrid, in Spain.
Oh,
but
awesome!
Maybe soon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well,
I'm Peruvian, so just to complete that.
Beautiful. Well, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully see you here in NZ. Awesome. Oh well, have an amazing evening, everybody. And
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thanks, Dave, for putting this together.
All good.
It's a lot of work.
Sweet.
Yeah. I think we're all looking at it going, we're all talking on a panel, but we're all in the same boat. This information is all very, very handy.
It is.
Sweet.
We're consumers of this information too.
We all forget it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody. Enjoy your night. All good.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you so much.